Welcome back to our science class. Today we are going to learn about new chapter number 7, the living and non-living. Students, open your textbook at page number 103. Chapter number 7, the living and the non-living. Shall we start the topic? Yes. Students, the world around us is made up of living and non-living components. We can see so many things like scale, chalk, board, classroom, you and me. Is it not? So, all the things are classified basically into two types, living and non-living. So let us learn about mind map of this chapter. So this is the mind map. So here this chapter is about things around us. Things around us. So this things is further classified into living and non-living. So what do you mean by living organism? The organism which can grow, change the shape and size and finally die. So the organism which will grow and further change the shape and size and die is said to be as living organism. Okay. For example, plants, humans, dog, animals. Okay, and then about non-living things. So about non-living things, they do not grow, but it may show increase or decrease in their size or volume due to addition or deletion of material from outside. Okay, so they do not grow. They may increase or decrease in their size or volume by the addition or deletion of material. For example, stone, fan, window, house, cycle, so many are there. Okay, so we are going to learn about non-living things also. Then we are going to further learn about characteristics of living organism. So what are they? Structural organization, growth, movement, food and nutrition, respiration, excretion, reproduction, definite lifespan and response to stimuli. Clear? So let us learn about these things in detail. Yes, students. Here you can see a glass bowl with water, freshly collected leaf, stones and all. So today, now we are going to do an activity about plants. So, do plants breathe? Do plants breathe? Let us do this activity. A fresh leaf is collected. They are kept in glass bowl. Now, I am going to keep this in glass bowl. Okay. Then, a small stone is kept over the leaf. It's kept over the leaf. Anyone? Okay. And then, so why you are keeping the stone? Which make the leaf totally immerse in water. Clear? Yes. Now keep this under sunlight for 1 hour. So after 1 hour, let us notice the results. Children, now let us see the results of the activity. So here, after 1 hour, if you are noticing the results, the leaf surface has air bubbles. Can you see here? Here one, here, below to that one. Okay, here also one, and here small bubbles, small air bubbles are there. Okay, so the air bubbles which are released in the leaf is the proof of breathing process. So this experimental activity results like plants will breathe. Okay, children, let us learn about living beings. So what is living beings? They are born, they grow, change their shape and size, and finally die. They are born, then they grow, okay, then their size and shape is also growing along with them, and then they finally die. Clear? They live for a certain period of time. They are having certain period of time. For example, plants, birds, dogs, you and me. Okay, all are having certain period of lifetime. Clear? Then about non-living things. Non-living things. So what do you mean by non-living things? They do not grow. They do not grow. But it may show increase or decrease in size or volume due to addition or deletion of material from outside. For example, stones, pencil, windows, cycle, so many non-living things are there. So this is what about non-living things. So there are similarities and differences between living and non-living things. So let us learn about similarities. Both living and non-living things are made up of matter. They are made up of matter. Living things are made up of matter. They both occupy space and have mass. They both occupy space and have mass. Both are made up of structural units which cannot be seen through our naked eyes. That is, it is visible only through microscope. Clear? Yes. Then about differences. Differences. So what are the differences? Living beings exhibit unique characters which are different from non-living things. There is a difference between living and non-living thing. Living things are having their unique characters. So some of these features are growth, nutrition, movement, reproduction and excretion. Clear? Yes. So many are there. So let us learn one by one. Yes students. Now the first feature is about structural organization. Structural organization. So what do you mean by this? Living beings are made up of cell. Hope you all know all the living organisms are made up of basic unit said to be as cells. Okay, so these cells divide further to form new cells. So one cell is getting multiplied to many cells here. So there are two different types of organism that we learn. So basically, the building block of an organism is nothing but the cell. Clear? These cells divide further to form new cells. A cell is a basic building block or structural unit of all living organism. Clear? So, all the functions necessary to maintain the life takes place inside the cell. So, what will be there inside the cell? DNA, protein, genetic material, so many things are there. Okay, so all the things which are required for our life process is done by the cell. Clear? So, we are going to learn about that. Basically, cell is the functional unit of life. Cell is also said to be as structural unit, and cell is the basic functional unit of life. Clear? Further, cell is classified into two types, that is single cell organism or unicellular organism. Number two, multicellular organism. So what do you mean by single cellular organism? Organism that exist or survive with only one cell is said to be as single cellular organism, or else unicellular organism. Okay, so for example, amoeba, paramecium, so many are there. What do you mean by multicellular organism? We people are example for multicellular organism. Mean to say, we are built by many cells. Clear? Yes, children. Now, as I said, organism that are made up of only one cell is said to be as unicellular or single cell organism. Clear? For example, amoeba, paramecium, and so many are there. Then about multicellular organism. So here, the organism that are made up of two or more cells are called multicellular organism. So if it is made up of two or more, then it is said to be as multicellular organism. Clear? For example, plants, animals, humans, all are coming under multicellular organism. Clear? So that's all about the first feature. Yes, children. Now let us learn about the second feature, growth. Okay. So what do you mean by growth? Growth is the increase in size or volume of the body. Increase in size or volume of the body. So when cells present in an organism divide their number, when it is divided, then automatically their number increases. Cell number increases. This increase in number of cells is the increase in size. That's what growth. Clear? So about unicellular organism. In unicellular or single cell organism, here the cell will grow in size as the organism develops and mature. Clear? And about human beings. Human beings basically are multicellular organism. Is it not? Human beings grow from babies to adults. Progressively the growth is taking place. Is it not? Yes. Puppies become dogs. Kittens grow into cats. Seeds grow into plants. Is it not? Yes. And then after plants, big plants and trees. Is it not? Yes. Then about animals. animals stop growing in size after some time. To some extent it reaches their growth, then after that it stops their growth. Not only in animals, even in human beings, is it not? That's what, after some time the growth has been stopped. During this time, so when it reaches that stage, their body undergoes the process of development that makes the body more complex and mature. Clear? Living beings, in case of living beings, the growth is the result of internal division or increase in size of cells. So what do you mean by growth in terms of living beings? Here the cell is divided so that there is an increase in the size of the cells, which is nothing but the growth. Clear? And about non-living things. Non-living things, they do not grow. They do not grow. Is it not? Will the scale will grow? No. Is it not? They do not grow. Their size or volume increase only if something is added or deleted from outside. For example, stacks of coins. So if 10 coins are stacked one above other, automatically if I am adding 5 more to that, the size will get increased. If I am just removing 5 from there, the size will get reduced or decreased. Is it not? So that's what about non-living things. Yes children, now let us learn about the third feature, that is movement. Okay, so what do you mean by movement? It is an important feature of living organism. It's an important feature. Is it not children? Yes. So this movement could be external. What do you mean by external movement? For example, raising your hand. Raising your hand. Internal movement. What do you mean by internal movement? For example, movement of blood inside body. Inside our body. So these movements may or may not involve a change in position of an organism. So it may change the position of an organism or it may not change the position of an organism. Clear? Yes children. Now animals exhibit locomotion, that is they move from one place to another. Is it not? Yes, animals will move from one place to another. For what? In search of food and shelter and to escape from their enemies. So this feature is observed in animals also. Yes children, now let us watch a video about some plants which exhibit this feature.
The Venus flytrap. Like the sundew, it makes itself very attractive, oozing nectar across the brim of each leaf. But any visiting insect had better watch out for these 6 tiny hairs. This fly has to tread carefully. If it strikes one hair, it can carry on feeding, but a timer has been set. A second strike in less than 20 seconds and the fly is doomed. An electrical impulse is triggered and the leaf snaps shut in just a fraction of a second. The tips lock together like prison bars. If the fly is very big or very small, it may just manage to escape. But most are trapped and die. Ten days later, the trap reopens. All that remains is a husk. The plant has finished its meal and resets itself for its next victim.
Yes, children, have you watched the video? Yes. Now about the same plant, Mimosa pudica. What is that? Touch me not plant. So this plant droop when touched. It will droop when touched. For example, it is showing or it is exhibiting external movement. The leaves get closed when it is touched, so it is sensitive. Clear? Then Neptunia lutea. What is this? In this plant, the leaves close when touched. It also closed at night and when the weather is cloudy. Okay, and then another plant, Venus flytrap. So what is there in this plant? This plant traps the insect sitting on it by opening and closing the leaves. Okay, children, can you understand? Yes. Yes, children. Now, what about non-living things here? Non-living things, it cannot move on their own. It cannot move on their own. They need external force to make them move. For example, table. For example, table. It will not move by itself. Is it not? Unless someone pushes or pulls it, it can move. So this is what about this feature, movement. Clear? Yes, children. Now about the fourth feature, that is food and nutrition. Okay, so all living organisms need food for their survival, so that it provides energy for their own growth and development. Is it not? Yes. Now there are different types of organisms said to be as autotrophs, heterotrophs and all. So what do you mean by autotrophs? Auto means self, troph means nourishing, that is they are able to prepare or make their own food. Okay, so that's why it's said to be as autotrophs. Then the second type said to be as heterotrophs, mean to say hetero means another and trophs means nourishing. So these organisms will depend on plants or animals for their food or survival. So there are different types of organisms. Now about non-living things. Non-living things, do not eat or need food. Okay, they do not eat or they do not need food. For example, table, chair, so many. Is it not? Yes. Yes, children. Now, let us learn about the next feature, that is respiration. Okay, so what is this respiration? The food that we eat reacts with oxygen brought by air we breathe in to release energy. What is this, children? Do you have any idea about how the food what we eat get converted into energy? That's what this process. Okay, so here how it is getting converted. The food that we eat reacts with oxygen. Where does this oxygen comes from? We are breathing in oxygen, right? We are breathing in through nose. So oxygen is intaken. So here the food that we eat will react with oxygen which is intaken or breathed by us. Okay, then so that it will release energy. In short, food plus oxygen gives energy. Food plus oxygen gives energy. And this process is called respiration. Respiration. Clear? So, some more detail about this process. The air enters our body through nose. Is it not? Air enters our body through nose. So from nose, again it is transported to lungs. Where? Lungs. So what will happen there? What is there in air? Mainly oxygen. Is it not? Yes. So then once it reaches the nose, then it is transported to lungs. Then there oxygen in air is absorbed by blood and transported to different parts of the body. Listen children, here oxygen is transported to lungs. Is it not? So then what it is doing? That is absorbed by the blood. So blood is circulated entire body. Is it not? From head to toe. So it is absorbed by blood and it's transported to different parts of the body. Clear children? Then digested food. We are intaking food. Is it not? Digested food is burned with the presence of this oxygen. What we are intaking. So the food is digested with the presence of this oxygen and it will release carbon dioxide. It will release carbon dioxide. Clear? And this carbon dioxide is again transported, it is back again transported to lungs through the blood. Clear? Then from the lungs again it is transported, that is we are breathing out carbon dioxide. Is it not? So through the nose we are breathing out carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide is released out. Clear? So this is what about the process respiration. Clear children? Yes children. Now about the same, respiration and breathing is a non-stop process. That is we breathe while sleeping also. Is it not? Yes. Then humans, birds, cows, dogs and cats will breathe through nostrils. And then fish and other aquatic animals will breathe through gills. Clear? Then insects will breathe through spiracles. Okay, so where it is? It is present on their bodies. Okay, then earthworms will breathe through its skin. Clear children? So this is what about this feature. Yes children. Now answer to this question, that is, do plants breathe? What? Yes. Is it not? Yes. Now, the fish in fish tank, if you have ever noticed, the fish which is present in fish tank releases air bubbles. Why it releases air bubbles? When it is breathing in the water, so if it is breathing in water, then you could have noticed air bubbles there. So air bubbles are the proof of breathing. It's the proof of breathing. Clear? Then air bubbles which are released in leaf is the proof of breathing, that we noticed in the activity. Is it not? Yes. Now it releases air bubbles. Okay. But how does it happen? How does it takes place? That is, they take in oxygen. That is, the plant leaf take in oxygen from air through stomata. So what is the stomata? Children, you can see a leaf structure here. The back side of the leaf, you can see some small pores. You cannot see. It's actually very small, tiny pores. Okay. So through that pore cells has small openings present on the leaf which has stomata. And only through the stomata it releases oxygen. Okay. So they take in oxygen from air through stomata, that is the small openings present on the leaf. Clear? So usually during photosynthesis what happens? Carbon dioxide is intaken by the leaf and oxygen is released out. Is it not? So that oxygen is released through this stomata. Clear, children? Yes. So during photosynthesis process, carbon dioxide is taken in the leaf. It is taken in by the leaf and then it gives out oxygen. So this oxygen is the air bubble what we can see in the final results. Okay. So we are getting at the end oxygen. So during daytime the rate of photosynthesis is higher. Here the rate of the photosynthesis is higher, and then different plant parts breathe independently. Not only the leaf, roots and some older stem will also breathe. Okay, will respire through lenticels. What is this lenticels? Which are tiny pores. Which are present even in roots and in older stem. So through that also they can breathe. Clear, children? So this is what about this process, respiration. Yes, children. Now you can have a look at the picture. That is breathing organs in animals. So here you can see different animals like chicken, spider, fish, sponge. Sponge is a aquatic plant. Caterpillar. Okay. So here different animals are having different organs to breathe. Say for an example, chicken. Chicken has lungs. So chicken breathe through lungs. Clear? Then about fish. Fish have gills. So it breathes through gills. About caterpillar. Caterpillar have spiracles in their body. They have spiracles in their body. So it breathes through spiracles. About sponge. Sponge is an aquatic plant. Okay, so this plant has small tiny pores in their body. So here the breathing process, outflow and inflow, takes place through that small pores which are present in the body. Okay, so this is about inflow and this is about outflow. So it happens through small tiny pores. Clear? Next thing is about spider. Spider, you can have a look here. It has book lung. So the lungs are there in the spider. So through that it is breathing. So different animals are having different organs to breathe. Clear, children? Yes, children. Now let us learn about the next feature, that is excretion. Excretion. So what is excretion? The process of removing unwanted, wasteful substance that are often toxic for the body. That substances should be removed by this process said to be as excretion. Clear? So in animals, after digestion, the undigested food is removed from alimentary canal in the form of feces, and that process is said to be as defecation. Clear? Then the excess of salt and water are removed from the body in the urine and sweat. Okay, then in case of plants, plants release excess water through stomata. Through stomata. Where is the stomata? Which is present in the leaves and stem. Clear? And then other waste like gums and resins are released out. Okay, plants waste, other waste which are released in the form of gums and resins. Clear, children? Yes. So this is what about this feature, excretion. Yes, children. Now about the next feature, reproduction. Okay, so here about this process, what is this reproduction? The organism that produce new organism of their own kind. This process is called reproduction. Clear? So here some organism reproduce by eggs. Okay, so it lay eggs and the young ones will come out from these eggs. For example, birds, frogs, fishes, snakes, so many are there. Okay, then about plants. Plants will reproduce through seeds. So these seeds will be there in their fruits. So now if the seeds are sown in the soil, then you will get new plants. So this is what about living organism. Then non-living things do not reproduce. Is it not? Table and chair will not give you the young ones and all. Is it not? So that's what non-living things do not reproduce. Yes, children. Now let us learn about the next feature, that is definite lifespan. Okay. So here what is this lifespan? Every organism lives for a particular number of years, which is known as its lifespan. So it lives for a particular time period. That time period is termed to be as lifespan. Clear? For example, housefly lives about 1 month. Okay, housefly lives for 1 month. Then about Bristol cone pine tree, it may live thousands of years. So every organism are having a particular time period. Okay, then non-living things do not have lifespan. They do not have lifespan. It does not die. Clear? So this is what about lifespan. Yes, children. Now let us learn about the next feature, that is response to stimuli. Okay, so what is this? Anything that triggers a reaction in an organism is called stimuli. Plural, stimulus. Okay, so this reaction, that is the reaction of the organism, is said to be as response. Said to be as response. All living organisms respond to stimuli. Is it not? If somebody beats your, it's paining. Is it not? That's what. We perceive stimuli with the help of sense organs. With the help of sense organs. What are the sense organs? Eye, ear, nose, tongue and skin. Is it not? Yes. Now, plants also. Plants respond to stimuli. Plants also respond to stimuli. For example, Mimosa pudica. What is that? Touch me not plant. The leaves, the touch me not plant will droop when touched. If it is touched, the leaves will droop. So here the touch is the stimuli and the drooping is the response. Touch is the stimuli and the drooping is the response. Clear? Yes. Yes, children. Now let us learn about phototropism. Okay. So what is this phototropism? The property of the plant stem to grow towards the source of light is called phototropism. So you know a plant, how it grows. So when the plant is growing, when it is moving, when it is growing towards the light, wherever it's getting light, no, it will grow towards the source of light, and that state is said to be as phototropism. Clear, children? So here light receives a stimulus, okay, and the growth of stem, light is the stimulus, and the growth of stem towards light. The plant is growing towards the light source, no? That action, that reaction is said to be as response. Clear? So this is the light is stimulus and the growth is meant to be here as response. Children, now you can have a look at the picture. Here there is a pot with plant. Is it not? Sunlight, sun is here and sunlight is flowing through this direction. Is it not? So now the shoot is growing, it exhibits phototropism. It's growing towards the source of sunlight. Okay, so that's what shoots exhibit phototropism. Clear, children? So wherever plant receives sunlight, it will grow according to that direction, and that is said to be as phototropism. Clear? Yes. Now about the next picture, that is response towards gravity. What is this? You can see a pot with a plant. Okay, so this is the stem, this is the stem of the plant and this is the root of the plant. Here in this picture they are clearly mentioning that the root is growing towards the direction of earth. It will grow towards the direction of earth, and then stem will move opposite to the direction of earth. Will move opposite to the direction of earth. So since the root is growing towards the direction of earth, it is said to be as positively geotrophic. Clear? And the stem which is growing opposite to the direction of earth, and that's why it is negatively geotrophic. Clear? Yes, children. Now about geotropism. What is this? Just now I said the roots of the plants have a tendency to grow in the direction of earth and stems in the direction opposite to earth. Is it not? So this property is called geotropism. Children, I repeat, the roots of the plant have a tendency to grow in the direction of earth. Roots will grow in the direction of earth and stem will grow in the direction opposite to earth, and this property is termed as geotropism. Clear? Roots exhibit positive geotropism, Why? Because it is growing towards the direction of earth. So that's why it is also said to be as positive geotropism. And then stems exhibit negative geotropism. Why? Because it is growing in the direction opposite to earth. So that's why it is said to be as negative geotropism. Clear? So the Earth's gravity is the stimulus here. Earth's gravity is a stimulus, and the respective growth of stem and roots is said to be as responses. Clear? So gravity is stimuli and the growth of the stem and root is responses. Clear, children? So this is what about geotropism. Yes, children. Now the last part of the chapter, that is species. Okay. So what is this species? It is a group of similar looking organism that are capable of breeding among themselves. To produce young ones that can also reproduce. Can you understand? Humans are different from elephants. Elephants are different from lion or tiger. Is it not? So here each and every living being, even though it is a living being, human beings is different from elephant, elephant is different from tiger. Is it not? That's what. So here plants are also of different species. For example, there are different varieties of banana. Is it not? Small banana, big banana. Is it not? Red banana. So much varieties are there. But still, all banana plants form one species of plants. All the different varieties of banana plants form one species of plants. Can you understand? That's what they grow in same climatic and soil condition. Though it might be different varieties, they grow in same climatic and soil conditions. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now an activity for you. Okay. So here prepare a list of things which is surrounding you, like scale, chalk, board, classroom, house, so many. Okay, and then categorize them under living and non-living things. You just differentiate whether it is living or non-living. Okay, and then write the characteristics that made them to decide whether it is a living or non-living. Okay, so you want to mention the characteristic feature of the particular thing to decide them whether it is a living or non-living thing. Clear, children? So this is what about the activity what I am giving to you. Do this and submit it in your class email ID. So children, with this we have come to an end of this chapter. After watching the video, read the chapter thoroughly so that you can understand well. Okay, children? So we'll meet in the next class. Till then, take care. Thank you. Thank you all.